Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be discussing me being diagnosed with HG, which is Hyperemesis Gravidarum. It's not going to be a fun topic and a fun video. There are some dark moments and things, but I'm going to be brutally honest about what I went through and what I'm still going through. All right, so basically HG is Hyperemesis Gravidarum, which is severe morning sickness, like beyond what I ever expected. So I'm just going to kind of go over my experience with it. And like I said before, there are some points in the video that are going to be TMI or kind of darker topics, which is hard, but I'm going to be honest because I didn't know about this before my pregnancy, and then researching it after, I appreciate the videos that are honest about it and how they struggled. So I'm going to be honest. So basically I found out I was pregnant at 3 weeks and 1 day. We did IVF, so I also tested early to make sure that I could surprise my husband, which happened, which was great. But I've known about my pregnancy like right away. So 3 weeks, I already had a few symptoms, but I think it was due to the medications that I was on at the time. Typical morning sickness symptoms kicked in about 4 weeks and a day or two. And I was like, oh, I can handle this. This is fine. Like, no big deal. Week 5 comes around. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Week 5. Full blown. I'm talking 24/7 nausea. Like, never went away. Wasn't vomiting at that time, but full on nausea all the time. Nothing helped it. That's when I started trying the ginger and saltine and all the typical sour candies and all of that good stuff. The Preggy Pops actually did help for a little bit with that. And then after about a week of that, it just escalated even more so. So this is now about week 6 of my pregnancy. Still nauseous all the time. I could still function, but it was already starting to take a toll on me. Right about this time is when the vomiting started kicking in. TMI, I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you. Vomiting at that point, probably about 6 to 8 times every day. That was every day. Sometimes just drinking water. It could be nothing in my stomach and I'd still vomit. It was rough. I thought that was going to be the extent of it, but no, it escalated from there. Shortly after that, it got to the point where consistently every day, it was a minimum of 10 times a day. That was a good day. And up to over 20 times a day, over the course of this pregnancy. So yeah, so my body 10 to 20 times, like on average every day. It's exhausting. Those numbers even included medication, which I'll go back to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so the trouble with vomiting all the time, another TMI, the acid from my stomach, my esophagus, everything was getting so torn up that I started vomiting blood, and it scared me. It actually scared the crap out of me. I thought I was going to lose the babies. This is our first pregnancy. We've been trying for over 8 years to get pregnant. I'm going to cry. Sorry. That fear was very real, knowing that my body was not getting nutrition or fluids. Plus just constantly getting sick. You worry that that's going to hurt the babies too. So, I constantly had that in the back of my mind that, one of these ultrasounds, we're going to go in and something's going to be wrong, because I didn't think it was possible that they could survive off of nothing. But everything ended up being okay, thank the Lord. But that was a really big fear of mine it still is. But in the beginning, it was really, really real for me. So yeah. All right. So then on top of that, I had headaches daily, constant headaches, nothing touched them. And I know that it was from being sick all the time and not getting the vitamins and nutrition that my body needed. It was just running on fumes. And feeling of being dizzy and like clumsy, just not in control of my body, which is crazy to me. I don't like that feeling. And focusing it was so hard. Not even pregnancy brain. This was like, you're not getting anything in your body, you're starving, and you're running on fumes and can't focus, can't process. I felt like a zombie, and I'm thankful that it's gotten a little bit better. I'll go into that as well. Another symptom was I was lethargic and extremely exhausted, to the point where I literally say that I had no life the first 12, 13 weeks of my pregnancy, which is true. I couldn't go anywhere. I don't know how I made it through work. Work was horrible. It was hard because all the girls at my work could hear me getting sick in the bathroom constantly all day long. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to go through that around other people. So that was hard. It was stressful. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I was there, but I wasn't there. It was hard. My husband says he doesn't know how I got through it. I still honestly look back and I don't know how I worked every day. Yeah, it was hard. So I'd go to work, get off work, and literally would go home and be in bed the rest of the night. I couldn't do anything. I was physically, mentally drained. And then my weekends weren't weekends. I couldn't function or leave the house. I tried to a couple times, but then the whole time I'm getting sick in public places and bathrooms, and you get to a point where you're just like, I'd rather be at home in the comfort of my home and my safe place and not around people having to hear me do that and me feel disgusting, being around people doing that. So yeah, so no life for the first 12 weeks. And it was so hard because don't get me wrong, I'm so thankful to be pregnant. So thankful. So excited. But I wanted to enjoy my pregnancy, and I hadn't, and I still kind of feel like I haven't, like I wanted to, which sucks because I don't know, after this, I don't know if we're going to get pregnant again. I don't know. So you have your expectations of what pregnancy is going to be like, and then you just get hit by a semi-truck of symptoms and troubles. So all I can say right now is I'm super thankful that I'm okay and the girls are both okay. So continuing on, those first 12 weeks literally was working with my doctor. I was on 5 different medications. We would try one and it might work for a little bit to take the edge off, but then my body either got used to it or it didn't really work. So it took us going through 5 medications, and then we finally got the combination of Bonjesta and Zofran. So that's what I'm currently taking. And I've been on that since, I want to say about week 15 or 16. And I'm currently today 19 weeks and 2 days. So I think it was week 14 that I started Bonjesta. On top of that, not to complain, but that's the only thing that works for me. So I hate saying this, but I have to pay because Bonjesta is not cheap. It's $150 every 20 days for a prescription. Every 20 days. So that was another like stressor in my life because it's expensive, and that's the only thing that's getting me through, making me feel like I can, get through my days. So I'm thankful that it worked. I'm thankful that I found something that did work, because there's a lot of girls that have HG and they don't get relief, and I don't know how they do it. I give them mad props, and you guys are amazing, because I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Continuing on, when it was really bad, before I got my relief, I couldn't eat or drink. I would literally eat a saltine just to get something in my stomach and vomit it up immediately. I would take sips of water and vomit it up. Like, it was within a matter of minutes. It didn't matter what it was. I would vomit if I ate anything. I would vomit if I didn't eat. Like, if there was nothing in my stomach, I was still getting sick constantly. So I couldn't win with that, which was really frustrating, because I got to the point where I just forced myself to drink as much as I can, knowing that I would throw it up in a matter of minutes. But my mentality was, hopefully your body's absorbing something, you're getting something rather than nothing. And I just kept doing that constantly. And I honestly think that's what kept me out of the hospital, because it got to a point where, towards the end, where my doctor did tell me to go to the emergency room and get an IV for dehydration, which I ended up going somewhere else. We have a place here that is called Rapid Hydration, and they actually have a lot of different IVs. And I got the morning sick list, which did help, and I'm so thankful for that. So I just said, if I get to that point again, I will just continuously go there for IVs and flush my body with fluids, because it's crazy. But yeah, so that's how I think I stayed hydrated enough, was just forcing myself to drink, chug water, chug Pedialyte, chug Gatorade, chug anything that I could, and just fight it and try to hold it in as long as I could. Yeah, it didn't usually help, but in my mind it did, and it kept me out of the emergency room, I think. So, okay. So, dark topic. I don't really want to discuss this because it's hard. It's a really dark time. There were a couple weeks where it got really, really bad. So disclaimer, just know that I love these babies, and I've prayed for them and have wanted them forever. I've wanted to be a mom since I was a little girl. And to have these feelings scared me so bad. I've battled depression in my life, and I lost 17 pounds from the start of my pregnancy. By week, I want to say 10 or 12, I had already lost 17 pounds from not eating or drinking. It was weight. It was getting sick so often. You physically don't feel good. You're emotionally drained. You're mentally drained, like everything. So my hormones were horrible. I got depressed because I didn't have a life. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I ended up getting depressed. I was in a dark place. I talked to my husband about it because I wanted to make sure he knew. And I told him if it got any worse, I would, talk to my doctor and get on medication again. But I was on that cusp of, it was just occasional, and it was just thoughts, fleeting thoughts, and I could handle that. But there were a couple times where I honestly had suicidal thoughts, that what I was going through was not going to be worth it, which was really hard because I know it's going to be worth it. And I want to be a mom. I want these baby girls so bad. Yeah. So then after that, there were also thoughts of, like I said, these thoughts kill me. Like, they scared me. But there would be random thoughts where I was just so overwhelmed and done and just thought that I couldn't fight anymore. And it was like a weird hope that my body just gave in and carry out this pregnancy, that I would lose the babies and I'd be done and I'd be okay and get all these symptoms would go away. And that terrified me, absolutely terrified me. So I really talked to my husband about, how I was feeling and that I needed to just, be okay. And I couldn't have done it without him, honestly. Like, he is my hero through all of that. I was honestly worthless. I didn't do anything. I couldn't help with anything. I was literally bedridden, besides working. Like, it was scary. So, horrible thoughts, horrible hopes that something would go wrong to end the pregnancy, and that terrified me. So that got better. I talked to my doctor and we got on a medication that helped, like I said, the Zofran and Bongesta. And since then, I've been able to regain my life a little bit. So, like I said before, I hope you guys don't use that against me. I'm being honest about it. I would never act on anything, and I would never wish to lose my babies. Like, that is the farthest thing from my mind. I'm so thankful for these girls. I'm so thankful still after all of this for this pregnancy. So, on that note, the next topic. All right. So last little bit. Yeah, sorry, that was hard. The whole first trimester, up until I was 16 weeks, I didn't get relief. It was very hard. I felt like I was honestly dying. I felt like my body was just gonna give up at any point and something was gonna happen and I would just be gone because it wasn't functioning like it should. Yeah. So then on top of that, I know people are only trying to help. So I didn't, hold it against them. But now that I'm aware of what HG is, I know that I will be so much more cautious of what I say to certain people if they're experiencing anything similar to what I did. If they're complaining during their pregnancy about how horrible they feel, I'm not gonna, downplay it and say, oh, it's just morning sickness. You'll get through it. It's fine. Everybody does it. Because that's kind of what happened to me. I know I had a lot of people that cared and were looking out, but there were some comments and some people that would say something that would make me feel like I was weak or couldn't handle my pregnancy. And that mentally gets to you, which is hard because I knew in my mind that this was not a typical morning sickness of I'm just nauseous and maybe getting sick a couple times here and there. This was, way more intense, way more extreme. But I still had moments of feeling like I was completely weak for not being able to handle my pregnancy. And then on top of that, I am pregnant with twins and we found out they're girls. But everybody, common sense, everybody says the typical wives' tale, oh, girls are going to kick your butt. You definitely have girls. That's why it's so bad. But it's not just that either. And in my mind, I thought it was just because I was having twins. It wasn't until a few girls that I talked to actually had HG and told me, and it just clicked that this is what I have. I talked to my doctor and she's like, oh, absolutely. It's like, why didn't you diagnose me? Like, I had no idea, but it's fine. She diagnosed me later. So yeah. And then I know they're trying to help, but if I heard one more person mention, have you tried ginger or saltines or crackers? Like, I almost lost it because, of course, that's the first things I tried. Like, within the first 2 weeks, weeks 3 to 5, 3 to 6 maybe. And after that, it was so beyond that. None of that helped. None of it even touched what I was dealing with. So I know people meant well. not saying they didn't, and I love you all for helping and caring, but in those moments, when you actually feel like you're dying and feel like death, that's the last thing you want to hear. So, just being honest about that, that was really hard. It was a struggle for me. But other than that, I am now on week 19. Since week 16, I actually started feeling a bit better on the Zofran and Bongesta. I was able to eat and drink and kind of got my life back. I had weekends and kind of met up with people, and it was amazing. It's been amazing. So thankful for that. A little bit of relief. Unfortunately, the last 4 days have been very rough again. And mentally, I kind of broke down earlier and cried to my husband and my sister because I'm terrified of it getting worse again. It's scary because I don't know if I'm mentally prepared to deal with it again if my symptoms come back full force. The last 4 days, the last 2 days in particular, I have not been able to eat or drink again, which is frustrating, even on medication. And that scares me, but I know I'm going to be okay, and we're going to get through it. I'll talk to my doctor again and see if we're going to switch something else up, or I don't know, maybe I'll go get an IV earlier on in the process. So I could really use prayers and positive thoughts and just pray that the symptoms don't come back, that the HG just chills out, and maybe the girls are growing or something and it's changing my hormones right now and it's just a temporary couple day, you're not going to eat and drink. That'd be great. So, on that note, sorry, I'm an emotional mess, but, I'm thankful for the people that I have in my life that have been here, and listened and cared and asked if I needed anything, or, I'm really thankful for my husband. Like I said before, I don't know how I would have done it without him. To you mamas out there that struggle with HG, I give you props, especially those of you that already have kids at home. I couldn't imagine going through this and having a toddler or infant at home and having to care for them on top of feeling this way. So you guys are amazing. Women are amazing. The strength that people show, I'm just blown away. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching this video. And just final thought, if somebody is struggling with their pregnancy or their symptoms, just be that listening ear and don't downplay what they're feeling. Some people may not be able to handle, simple symptoms, and some people may actually be experiencing way more than they're letting on. So just be courteous, be compassionate, love one another. It's hard, and I know going through this has opened my eyes a lot, and I'm going to be a lot more aware of other people and what they're dealing with when it comes to this stuff as well. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support, and yeah, I love you guys. So before the video is over, I did want Jeff to be in because I have told him numerous times how thankful I am for him. He did so much when I was bedridden and felt like I couldn't leave the house or do that. So you're amazing. I know that I was going through a lot, but I know it affected him too. He's my partner. He's my everything. And seeing somebody that you love go through something hard, I know takes a toll. So I love you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so as you guys can probably imagine, guys try to hide some of this stuff and act like they're quote unquote tough and that they can handle it. But, as you can imagine, if your wife is going through a lot of suffering and pain like you were going through, it has a direct impact on me. Obviously I'm not the one going through it firsthand, but, there were a lot of days where she would come home after a long day of work. I don't know how she did that. And she'd be done. And, that has an impact on you as well. And there's, she touched on some of this stuff earlier, but I started to wonder a little bit on if there was a stigma associated with HG, like, oh, it's, you just need to suck it up and maybe you're overreacting. But there were a couple times where I was like, okay, she's getting up at 2 a.m. to puke 3 times, and this is serious. And there were definitely a couple times where, I was worried about the health of our babies, and she would have a really rough week, and then we would go to an ultrasound appointment, and it was like, oh, thank God, like, okay.
Such a relief that they were okay.
Huge sigh of relief. The hearts are still beating. Try not to get choked up about this, but
it's scary. It really is scary.
So yeah, there were definitely some sighs of relief there, and the way that you've handled this and the way that you've gotten through this is just all the more proof to me of how amazing you are. And fingers crossed. I'm hoping we'll see how things go. I guess we'll just deal with it, but I'm hoping that it doesn't get back to how bad it was a few weeks ago. As you mentioned, you were doing a lot better for a while there. So,
and like I said, thankful for those couple weeks. So, yeah. We are both thankful that the girls are both doing well. They're measuring great. They're freaking fighters too. So, yeah, they're lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Are you kidding me? I'm lucky to have you.
I love you a lot. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hi guys, so 19 weeks and 2 days pregnant today, and little bump is starting to show. Some days I feel like it's really bloated and shows more, and then other days it's small, but 19 weeks, twin girls in there, doing pretty good right now. Babies are both measuring really well. We had an ultrasound at 18 weeks and 4 days, and they were already both measuring at 19 weeks, which is good. So super thankful, but yeah. That's it.